Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Contractor Growth Network. Today, instead of being joined by Chris, I've got Dave Carroll from Dope Marketing. Dave, what's up, man?
What's going on, Logan?
Dude, at first you started speaking and it didn't come through. I was like, oh shit, did the audio cut out? So yeah, you got me on that one. Well, cool, man. Well, Dave, the reason I have you on here is I want to learn more about your backstory, talk about who is Dave, why do I have him on here, but then also go through everything that you're doing over at Dope Marketing. And I also want to talk about where'd you come up with the name. So let's jump off at that point, if you're cool with it. So who's Dave and what is Dope Marketing?
Yeah, so my name is Dave Carroll from a little company over at Dope Marketing. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I don't always like leading with that, but I never had a job. I was a knucklehead growing up. I went to 9 high schools, took out 3 student loans to not do the most legal things with. I was in prison from when I was 21 to 25. Never had I worked at Super America, a gas station here in the Twin Cities. When they told me when I was 18, I had to have a pay stub. I'm like, I have cash. Why do you need a pay stub to move into this place? They're like, no, right. Legitimate income. So I'm like, all right, go get a job at a gas station. That was my only employment. Made some great decisions in my life. Ended up paying for those decisions and got out when I was 25, was in a halfway house, transitioning back into society. My buddy had a job at a window cleaning company, got me a job doing that while we were, transitioning. I got out, was like, what am I going to do? I don't want to go back to the lifestyle that ended me up in that great place beforehand. So I started a window cleaning company. Fast forward 11 years now. That business, Lion Share Maintenance here in the Twin Cities, does a couple $1,000,000 a year. My wife and my now brother-in-law kind of manage that business. I knew that the home service space was not really my passion. I was never that great at doing the work. I'm good with ideas. I'm good with, marketing and sales, but the day-to-day is never really my strong point. And so I was looking at scaling my cleaning business and I was like, how do I do this? Well, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Let's look at the guys who are doing what I want to do in my life, where they're at now and what these guys were doing. This was even pre-Facebook. It's like the forum boards and all that stuff. These guys were getting work from property managers. So I'm like, all right, how do I do that? I started scraping Google and I was contacting property managers and putting on safety vests and hard hats and walking into strip malls, clicking my Voxer like, hey, hold on, Bill. How do I get in touch with a person for water access to this building? Like I wasn't lying. I really need water access, but I had no business asking for it. And so what happened was I came across a way to, you sign up for different associations. And then when you sign up for $400, $700, $1,500, whatever it is, you get the list of members of the Property Manager Association. So I was like, all right, I'm taking and I'm scraping data and I'm LinkedIn and Google and whatever. And again, this is 8 years ago now. We start compiling lists of property managers because I knew I couldn't just sign up for an association and resell the list. That's against their policy. But if I bought a list and aggregated my own list and smashes them together, well, now it's my list. And so what happened is I started selling property manager data at the conventions and the trade shows and stuff. And so I'm doing that for about a year. I'd taken a consulting gig to help a guy start a similar business out in California. And what happened was a guy hit me up after going to a trade show. He goes, Dave, what are you doing with this property manager data? And I'm like, Jeremy, I have no clue, but I like it. I'm buying for $1. I'm selling for $2. We're helping businesses. It made sense. And he's like, Dave, why don't you come down to San Diego? I've been a list broker for 30 years. And if you're actually interested in this, I'll teach you about what this, buying, selling, managing data space is. And so started a data business. Fast forward a couple more years, we're selling lists. And it's like, what's a list without a use case? You need to send emails. You need to run Facebook ads. But more than anything, you need to send direct mail to your list. The majority of the people, whether dealing with printers or agencies or just small companies, doesn't matter if it's lawn care, HVAC, roofing, whatever, you need data. You can have the best campaign in the world. If you have the worst list, your campaign's not going to work. And so we were brokering a lot of mail and printing and email services. And I had dabbled in the the Facebook space, running ads for a couple years. We had gotten up to like 100 clients, and some big clients we had got referrals from, Ashley Furniture, TiVo, Nike, UPAC, through this agency partner, Blitz Metrics. Dennis, if you ever see this, shout out my homie. Dennis plugged us with some really good accounts, but we also started running Facebook ads in the home service space. And I just saw I wasn't really in control of that platform. Like, as much as we know how to do in there, and audience targeting and retargeting and cross-channel marketing campaigns, coming in from a data perspective, we can get audiences into Facebook really well. And that's became our specialty. And I just didn't like running Facebook ads for people. It just wasn't my thing. I don't like, what's the quality of this lead? What did we spend this week? I'm like, did your box get there? That made a lot more sense to me, a lot more relative conversation. And so what happened was, we were brokering a ton of direct mail, and we made the decision about 3 years ago to start buying up print shops here in the Twin Cities, consolidating them. About 6 months ago, we just moved into our brand new warehouse here where I'm sitting in. Got a couple $1 million of print equipment, and we specialize in data, direct mail, and anything else you need printed for your business. And then along the way, we wrote a cool piece of software that allows you to send direct mail with no minimum order, which helps, home service business, real estate, whoever. Direct mail is hard, and we make direct mail very simple over here at Dope Marketing.
I thought direct mail is dead, though.
Yeah, I heard that too, but the mail still comes every day, right?
So walk me through that. Okay, so you're in this space. How old are you now?
35.
35. All right. So you're a young guy, right? If you're 65 years old and you're trying to do, like, okay, I get it, man. This is, you try to still push the yellow pages, got it. But 35, young guy coming in, why direct mail? Like, because I've always thought that, okay, this shit's dead. It's out the door. Like, who reads the newspaper? So what did you see that made you decide to not only use it, but go all in on it?
Great question. So couple things. Going back to where I was explaining how we scaled my cleaning company, it wasn't just trying to get in front of property managers. These guys were sending direct mail. And so right around the time that EDDM, every door direct mail, came out, that was right when we were getting into business. That was about 10 years ago. And the ability to get a discount on, doing more of the job for the USPS, it made sense. So we, over the course of the first 3 years in our business, we were the same guys that sent, it's spring, we're busy, we're getting work, we're making money, summer comes, vacation, kids out of school, residential work is dead. We send mail because we got some money. It doesn't work. We're like, oh man, this doesn't work. Direct mail's dead. This is pointless. Well, I had went on that rant too. And again, this is about 10 years ago. The guys who were having success with it said, Dave, stay consistent. There's not going to be a magic one in marketing. It's not going to be a one and done. Hey, I get to spend a couple grand here and make 100,000 and now I'm the guy. It's like, it doesn't work like that. So we started getting very consistent and granular with our direct mail. We would take an EDDM route, saturate a couple zip codes, but then we give a list of homeowners and do a second and a third.
And real quick, for those people that don't know, what is EDDM?
Yeah, great. Thank you for bringing that up. So EDDM, every door direct mail, is very different than sending to your customer list or a list of homeowners with a certain home value. EDDM, the way it works, we see our mailman, Logan, every day, right? Same guy, same thing, same clothes, same everything. Logan, the mailman, can deliver to a certain amount of houses every single day. And that's broken down into carrier routes within a zip code. So when you send EDDM, you get a discount on your postage. Stamps are expensive, and the post office gives you a discount sending EDDM because you're hitting everyone. Tall, short, fat, skinny, rich, poor, apartment, homeowner, whatever. If there's an address, you're doing what's called a saturation mailing. You're hitting an entire carrier route within a zip code, and that can be good and bad depending on your service. Like, if I own a lawn care company, do I really want to send postcards to people that live in an apartment building? Probably not. So EDDM might not always be the best route. It looks better. It's a little cheaper, but cheaper isn't always better. I would rather pay more to send to a targeted list of homeowners that are on over half an acre, that have a house over $500,000, and those people can get put on a list. As to where EDDM, they'll give you an income filter, but that's just census data. That's in that zip code and in that carrier route. What's the average household income? And who cares about income? I put 100 grand when I was 19 on a credit card trying to get approved for something. That's still out in the world of data. But when you look for targeting, it's like, homeowners, value of the home, length of residence, year the house was built, do they have a pool? These things that you can put on a list to target people will tell you things about their customers. And now going back to your question about, direct mail, is it dead? Is it good? How'd you get into it? It's like, we knew that staying consistent, intimacy creates trust, trust creates sales, sales create scaling in a business. And so to get a customer to trust you, there's best practices in marketing, and that job as a business owner gets easier for us every single day, because it didn't used to be 10 years ago where you could look like Home Depot and be a 2-year-old company doing a couple $100,000 a year. Nowadays, you can put together a postcard, make a Facebook ad that looks like that postcard, to have a door hanger that looks like the postcard, to do a ringless voicemail to see if they're getting your advertising. Like, that just wasn't really possible. And so when I saw the ability now at my age, being relatively young, the ability, it's not about sending a million pieces anymore, this shotgun marketing approach. It's creating intimacy, and touches in marketing have value. The cheaper the cost, usually the lower value the touch. If you're going to use Facebook boosted posts, if you're going to use YouTube reach, these things that you're paying like pennies for, it can be great top of funnel stuff. But when you can look at the more expensive forms of advertising, whether that's direct mail, TV, radio, whatever, it's like, you've seen these businesses wherever you guys are watching from in your markets. We have this real estate agent guy, Chris Lindahl, here in the Twin Cities. No one knew who this guy was 3 years ago. What did he do? He bought up every billboard in town. He did every radio thing, and he sends a bunch of direct mail. And now that he's like the guy in this market of 3.2 million people. And so I'm a really big proponent of, best practices. Like, what at our ability as a business owner, how do I keep myself educated on what the big companies, the middle companies, the small companies are doing? Because with technology, so much of these best practices are at our fingertips. And now that technology has evolved, and we spent some dough building our software, but I kind of saw the forest through the trees, where it's not about sending out 100,000 mailers for 30 grand and trying to dominate. It's like, let's look at your customer list. Let's sort it by zip code. So you got 56 jobs in this zip code, 27 in this zip code, and 18 in this zip code. And those are your top 3 zip codes. Let's get a list of homeowners in those zip codes with a home value above what you like servicing, and run a similar offer or a similar message. Facebook, direct mail, door hangers, yard signs, multiple touches, retargeting, all that stuff. Because instead of going with this wide approach where direct mail and traditional marketing used to be, because of technology now and softwares like the one we built, it's like, you can send direct mail with no minimum order and get that intimacy and that feeling in a zip code. Call out the city, call out the neighborhood on the marketing piece, all that stuff, and create intimacy around all those other touches. So I think direct mail is far from dead. I think, like most things in life, good things change and evolve. And I think now the best practices with direct mail, instead of looking at it as a shotgun budget killing marketing approach, is like, how can you get granular with direct mail to add and complement other marketing campaigns?
So Dave, can you name one person that gets more fired up about direct mail than you?
I've been told that I get pretty excited.
Yeah, like I'm sitting here, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, because I went to a conference in October, and one of the things I asked at this conference was like, what do you love more than anything else in the world? And I remember I wrote down, I was like, I love teaching residential contractors how to sell using their website more than anything. And I came back from the conference and I told my girlfriend about the conference, and she's like, what'd you learn? And I was like, I learned that the number one thing I like in this world is teaching contractors how to sell using their website. And she was like, you like that? Like, out of all the things,
that's it.
That's it. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, obviously the criteria was like, and you couldn't include the girlfriend. So, I had to like quickly backtrack into right. Oh, well, honey, like, don't trust me. Like that was the rules. Like, so it had to be written. So I like did all that, but like, that's what it sounds like with you, where it's just like, you be at a party, like, Dave, you want another line of Coke? And you're like, nah, man, I got direct mail. I'm good. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm straight, man. So, okay. So you get into this world, you love it. It all ties together, which is incredible. what do you say to the people that like come back to you and go, no, man, like I've tried direct mail. It just didn't work for me. It doesn't work for my industry. It doesn't work for my area. Is it just doesn't work for some people, or is it we just don't do the right thing?
I think like most things in life, you know, the E in entrepreneur or EIN usually stands for ego. You know, we want to believe that we're right most of the time because we got this far on our own. No one gave us this shit. No one set it up.
Right.
Daddy didn't give us a check. Like, we're a big boy. We did this.
Right.
Thank you very much. We did this on our own. And so when we try something, and regardless if, you know, let's say you had a bad vendor and you didn't really jive with them, or you had a shit list, or the design was poor, or the offer was bad. Depending on your experience and, you know, what the results were, if I talk to people that say direct mail doesn't work, 9 out of 10 times it's because they didn't do it right. But who wants to hear that shit? You know, I'm not here. It's not my job to tell you you suck at figuring things out, because that's not the case. But with most good things in life, strategy, patience, perseverance, like, you know, if direct mail didn't work, you would never see a postcard design for your industry. That's all it comes down to. Now, is sending direct, what I hear a lot is people are like, no, I tried direct mail. I sent it, you know, once or twice and it just didn't work for me. Well, that's because someone convinced you to probably spend more money than you were comfortable with, didn't have a great strategy, didn't have offers, didn't, you know, there's pieces to this marketing puzzle that are required to make things work. And I think specifically with direct mail, it's like, if you come in and you say, we want to send a direct mail campaign one time, we don't want to hear about strategy or campaign, great, we got a software, you can send it once. We don't want to hear about your results, because if you're not going to listen to what we tell you to do, I can't take credit for your wins or your losses. But if, you know, 9 out of 10 times, Logan, if we can get a customer to follow our strategy and how we lay out a direct mail campaign, it's much more about like, how can we now replicate this in another area? Because that's how we set it out. I'm not going to get on the phone with Logan and his, you know, excavating company and be like, you need to spend $10,000 right away to do this and make this happen. And no, it's like, we need to look at what's working well in your business, because we're pretty good at data. We can identify consistencies in people that you've done service for. Or if you're a brand new business, we can identify opportunities that work for same or similar industries that you're in. We're going to come in, we're going to have a budget discussion about, you know, what is your comfortable point? What's your discomfort level at spending money? What do you hope the results of this are going to be? Because we can tell you that you're going to have low-hanging fruit on your first mailing. Your second mailing is going to generate some more results. And by the third mailing, because you're aligning other touches outside of just the direct mail, because that's the thing. Is direct mail going to work by itself? Is Facebook going to work by itself? Is putting up a website and doing no SEO, not getting in front of anyone, not doing anything, no Google ad, like, is that going to work? Absolutely not. It goes back to best practices nowadays. Is an entrepreneur's got 5 fingers on their hand for a reason. You're doing 4 things right, and this last thing is disposable that you can replace with anything you come across at any given time. And when you align all of those things in order, something magic happens. It's like you actually see results from a marketing campaign. And again, it's not about going super broad. It's about identifying, like, where are you doing something right for the right person? How can we put those people on a list and make sure they know about your company? Because you, like, people have, this is one of my favorite one-liners. Everyone should write this down and use it forever. You have 100 problems during the day. I can solve 7 of them perfectly. All that other stuff that you need, I don't know about that. But if you come in, whether it's for our cleaning company, right? We provide X services, window cleaning, power washing, gutter cleaning, holiday lighting, whatever. Or for our data and print company, you need something printed for your business. Here's the things we can do. Here's the things we can't do. We can't run your Google. We can't run your Facebook. We can't build your website. We can't do SEO. We have partners for that in different verticals, but we can't do that for you. And so when you look at marketing, you know, with data, there's facts and there's logic. You have facts on your customer list. Judy Smith at 123 Main Street got service from you 3 times last year, and this was the amount of money. That's a fact. Like, Judy did that. There's logic around, like, who is Judy? Who are her neighbors? How much is her house worth? Like, think about the logic around that stuff. And then math will tell you, if I find I got 30 Judys on my list, And if I can find, where does Judy average live? What are some consistencies I can find about Judy that I can put on a list? What service did Judy use? How do I give someone a discount on that service to obtain the lifetime value of those Judys to grow my customer list? I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm trying to duplicate something that I did well before to get more results from it.
Yeah, but like this only works for window washing and low ticket stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So how does that work? Because like, let's talk, because like who I typically go after and who listens to a lot of this is a lot of remodeling companies where you're doing, close to 6-figure projects, stuff like that. Same with landscaping, a backyard renovation costs, $250,000, stuff like that. Is this a longer play? Is it more, because like as soon as you say the word discount, half the people will just turn their volume down. So walk me through, I guess, in your mind, without giving all the sauce away, but like, how does it work?
The sauce is out there, my man. I didn't make any of this up. I wish I could take credit for it. Here's the deal. Higher ticket offers work better because you want to be the guy that people think of in your area when they're going to do that, right? When you look at a bigger ticket item, the lead time is not closing off giving a $50 discount to obtain those 4 services a year. What you're going after is being the go-to company based off your reviews, your reputation, your branding, your trucks around, your guy, whatever the case is. Like, there's a reason why you win that job that you bid at 50,000 that the Craigslist guy bid at 25K. There's a reason you got that job. There's more Judys that need to know about that. And there's several ways to do that. One of them is reminding them it's February. It's 10 below in Texas right now, anywhere in the country. There are homeowners sitting at home like they were all year. Your guys' industry is fascinating to me because you're one that didn't tank last year. People with dough were sitting at their house. They weren't traveling. They weren't buying Gucci belts. They were trying to redo their patio because they had to fucking sit there all year and stare at it. And so it's like, the idea is, if you were the company, for the guys still listening after we turned me off after
once you put the D word, it's over.
Done. I get it, right? But again, that's ego. That's all that is. No one is saying to make direct market advertising work that's been working since covered wagons, where it's identify your perfect customer, give an irresistible offer, and put time sensitivity to it. That's the conversion to making marketing work. The idea is like, it doesn't matter if it's a financing play. It doesn't matter if it's just getting a list of $1 million homes in the one area in town that people can afford your services. You have a 30, 60, 90, 180-day lead time on one of these larger products. Can you put together a campaign to put something beautiful in someone's hands to complement the other advertising you're doing to make it easier to pick you as the person that they're going to get 3 bids from when they go make one? I mean, what the house, buying a house is like, for what is it, 85% of the country? Like, that's the biggest financial decision they'll ever make in their life, is buying a house, right? You know what the second one is? Putting 50 grand into your kitchen. And so it's like, when you can establish yourself, trust equals conversions. Conversions equals sales. Sales equals scale. When you can build that trust and take your customer by the hand, and once a month or once every 3 weeks, put something in their hand about a project you did in their neighborhood. People don't always pay attention to Facebook and the video you're doing at a job site. But if you can put together, what do I got for examples here? You can put together a nice piece like this, right? Boom. You got the letter. You have the trifold. You have the postcard. You have a handout. You have a thing. And you put these things in an envelope and you mail them to people. And then you do a ringless voicemail to the same list of those people. Hey, this is Dave over at ABC Maintenance. Did you get the thing I sent you last week? And then you do the door hanger, and then you do the yard sign, and they got another piece of mail. It's like, you can literally get so granular, even with these bigger projects, because data-wise, who's got bread? People in your area with a house over 750,000 that have a pool that probably they want to do some work around. Let's put those people in a list, send them a piece of direct mail, make you some online display ads that you can run yourself or give to your digital company. So you're executing a cross-channel marketing campaign. But the biggest staple in that is the mail, because you're not putting anything in anyone else's hand otherwise, unless you get in front of their door.
So with all of this, I mean, we're talking about this list. Is this something that I have to come up with as the contractor? I give you a list of people, or do you have a list? I mean, I guess walk me through that, because that's half the battle, is figuring out. I mean, I had a long talk with somebody today where they're talking about how, I want to sell more decks. Well, in the neighborhood that you live in, you're in a very, not low income, but it's just compared to like the city of Charlotte, you're so far on the outskirts that it's tough because the house is so far apart, all this stuff. So it's a tougher market. Now, when it comes to finding that market, is that something that Dope helps with? Is that something that we have to provide? I guess walk me through that.
That is what we specialize in. I mean, that's what got us into being a printer. I didn't set out in this world to print paper better than anyone else, but it was the fulfillment and the flexibility of what you could do with a print shop, with the different pieces, the customization, all that type of stuff. But from a data standpoint, yeah, we're the source, man. I'm Pablo. Like, we get data from the source. We have it. We buy all the licenses. You don't have to go to these Walmart-esque, Info USA, data, well, whatever, like those places, because you're going to get a 32-year-old guy with spiky hair that smells like Aquadigio who's might as well be selling you a used car. Like, and that's not us. We're nerds with the data stuff. So if you need in Charlotte a list of people with a house over $500,000, they've lived there for more than 4 years, they live on over a 1-acre lot, and they have a pool, yeah, we're Dope Marketing. We can put that on a list. RV owners, smokers, people into horses, golfer, name it. I mean, the data is out there, and that's what our team specializes in. The data, the campaign is hollow without the right list. Doesn't matter if it's digital or traditional marketing. If you're putting door hangers out in a trailer park about a $50,000 kitchen remodel, you're probably not targeting the right list or the right area. And so, yes, Dope Marketing can help put any customer on a list, residential or commercial. We got property managers, facility managers, real estate agents, whatever. We got a list of new home buyers. So like, let's say you got some zip codes in town that's a more affluent area. I have a list of people every month that buy homes in that zip code. So maybe it's, that area was built in the 90s and those houses are still worth $700,000 and people buy them and they gut them. It's not going to be a huge list every month. It can be 20, 30, 50 people. We can put a constant mailing going out that'll mail out on the 7th to 10th of each month to people that buy homes in specific zip codes in your market. So the data, we're pretty big proponents on the data being the most important, and we can provide that data with your campaign and help your digital marketing company. If you run your stuff internally, whatever, we can help with some strategy around how to take that list, get it into Facebook, do some ringless voicemails, do some of the other stuff that's available to build that cross-channel marketing campaign.
So all of that to me sounds incredible, but what we haven't even touched on, which is actually my favorite piece of all the stuff, is the neighborhood blitz. Walk us through that, because that is something that is so well done. It's stupid.
Making me blush a little too much on Tuesday, but
hopefully you deliver on the on the hype train here. So,
hey,
what is it? Hit me with it.
We developed a software over the past 18 months that talks to our print shop. You can send postcards with no minimum order. Come in, it's called Dope 360. Come in, upload your list, buy a list from us, get a list from the Chamber of Commerce, wherever you get it, we don't care. Put it in. We're going to first clean that list. We're going to hygiene it. We will not let you send to a bad address. Stamps are expensive. We want you to save your money and send to the right people. We clean the lists. There are features within Dope 360. So you can upload your customer list and set up a campaign so that your customers get a mailing every month, whatever. You can get a list of homeowners in Charlotte with a house over 500K that live on an acre with a pool, put that in, set up a quarterly mailing or a one-time mailing, whatever. We built a feature into Dope 360 that we're pretty proud of called the Neighborhood Blitz, which allows you to type in any address in the country. You can send a radius mailing. Again, no minimum, 10, 50, 100, 500, whatever, to the nearest homeowners. And there's a couple use cases for this. Let's say you got a big job coming up in 2 weeks. You sold Logan on building his deck. You're getting 80 grand out of him. And you want to send out a postcard to the nearest 100 homeowners. It says, hey, this is Dave over at ABC Builders. We're going to be in your neighborhood, kind of putting on a show. stop by, grab a cup of coffee. We're going to be around. Talk to us about the project. Here's the address we're going to be at. We'll be around. Look for our trucks, whatever. I know you guys don't like offers, so we won't get into any of that, but hi, we're going to be in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yep. The next thing is you're in a neighborhood, right? You're doing a job. Take a picture of that deck being built, throw it on the back of we got hundreds of templates in Dope 360. You can interchange all of them. So if it's a roofing postcard, you can delete the roofing postcards, change the text, upload your picture of the deck you're building, send that out in a neighborhood blitz, like in seconds. It's really, really simple. So you're in a neighborhood and you're working, you want to highlight a job, you're going to be there for a couple weeks, whatever. Another very easy opportunity. You just finished a job and you want to say, hey, here's a before and after picture. This is what it was. This is what it is. Highlight that on a postcard. Maybe you offer financing or something like that for bigger projects. And that's the offer you want to put. Jerry Jones at 123 Main Street got this done just down the road. If you want to talk to us about project planning and assessment, want us to come over, walk your house, talk about options, whatever the case is, you saw us at the home show, whatever, another third use for a card for guys in your industry. Of course, the new mover stuff, we can do campaigns with that in there. Think of the lists, the possibilities, and all of this is automated. The beautiful thing about Dope 360, guys, no monthly fee, no lifetime fee, no credits, no nothing. It's a direct mail software. You might use it once a day, like we would like. You might use it weekly. You might use it monthly. You might set up your campaigns for the year and never log in. We like that even better. All you got to do is get in. We can coach. We can strategize. We do all the designs, all the templates, everything. Go back to the use case in the neighborhood for the neighborhood blitz, that radius mailing. It's like you want a door hanger or a handout that looks just like your postcard or looks just like your yard sign or whatever. We can print all that stuff in-house. There's so many different things we can do to help complement the features of direct mail. But with Dope 360 and specifically Neighborhood Blitz, we made sending direct mail and getting laser targeted pretty simple.
Because what I see with this is, especially in the world of like interior painting, that's a tougher industry because because with all that, like those are things that unless it's like a really tall ceiling or this or that, like we can all technically or physically do it ourselves. So we feel guilty hiring somebody. So what we need is like that low barrier to entry as a homeowner to say, you know what, screw it. They're in the neighborhood. Let me just go ahead. And I've been talking about painting this room for 6 months now, but they're already here.
Yeah. Look at there. They're there. They're down the road. They seem trustworthy. They highlighted their reviews and their BBB and their stuff on. And get this. I didn't just get a postcard from them once and look at it and forget about it because my wife told me she didn't like me that night. These guys have been in my mailbox every 3 weeks for the last 3 months. They must be trustworthy. They're spending money. You know that feeling you get when like you go to the Home Depot website and you look at the lawnmower, you don't buy the lawnmower, you're getting retargeted on Facebook. You got something in the newspaper. You see the TV commercial, you're like, oh, Home Depot, you got me. I'm coming to buy the whatever. You can create that same feeling and emotion with your customers by simply staying consistent with your marketing. And again, you got 100 problems during your business during the day. We can solve 7 of them perfectly, and 6 of them have to do with direct mail.
How'd you come up with that we solved 7 out of the 100?
I just have like my little one-liners in that one.
Those like your idioms.
The beauty, you can throw a number. You have 37 problems. You have 63 problems. Yeah, it just always rolls off the tongue.
And I guess when you say it with confidence and you repeat it, it's like, damn, he probably list out all 7 right now.
Right now.
So where do you see the future of this? So, we're talking about the past of direct mail. Yep. We're talking about the current present situation right now. I love all the stuff that you're doing. What do you see moving forward from here? Because, more people are sitting home right now than ever before.
Mail's down. Direct mail is, if you haven't noticed, guys, if you check your mailbox, since COVID, direct mail is down because the real estate agents, the dentists, the chiropractors, the restaurants, they're all going broke. You can't go in there. They're not sending you mail. You have more opportunity to stand out in the mailbox now than ever. And what happens, these big corporate companies that have now furloughed people, reassigned their budgets, like they're doing things differently. And because technology has advanced so much, You don't have to go broke sending direct mail anymore. You can come on our platform and spend $20, $50, $100, $1,000, whatever on sending mail and still create that same experience as if you would have been competing with all those people 12, 18 months ago. My humble opinion is that short run direct mail, intimate direct mail, variable data, putting the city, the name of the person, like that type of stuff, and creating some intimacy. We have, and I know we talked about this a little bit, Logan, another service we offer at Dope Marketing. We have true handwritten direct mail services. And so let me show you guys a little something here. See this right here?
So explain it for the podcast people.
Sorry if you guys aren't watching on video. Podcast people, imagine getting an envelope that had blue pen handwritten with your name and your address with a live first class stamp on it that looked like someone sent you. How excited would you be if you got home today and there was like a handwritten note, a handwritten letter sitting waiting for you for when you got home? Dope Marketing can provide that service for you. So we can do like handwritten envelopes with a, info sheet with a personalized handwritten message inside. And it goes to the first touch of a multi-touch marketing campaign. If I'm a remodeler, I build patios, I build pools, I do interior painting, whatever. It's like, if I want to create some intimacy, I could send someone a letter and say, hey, Logan, we just finished up a job in your neighborhood. I want to personally introduce myself. My name's Dave Carroll. I'm the owner of ABC Deck Building, and we work a lot in your neighborhood. I'd love to stop by and check out your deck, give you an estimate, go over some options. Call me or text me at this number. Use a call tracking number so you can see the results. We're seeing, traditional direct mail is going to have a 1 to 5% response rate, and that's going to go up as you send consistently to the same homes. We're getting on average a 10 to 14% response rate on the first mailing of sending a handwritten message to people, because 99.9% of people that get a handwritten envelope are going to open it. Now it goes to your offer and your messaging inside. And because, go to that same messaging. It's like the second biggest financial decision-making project in someone's life is going to be the additions they make to their first investment, which is their home. And so if you can create a relationship, create some intimacy, maybe you pull a list of homes over $700,000 in your area. And the first touch is sending them a handwritten, a little service letter. Here's some things we specialize in, just an 8.5 by 11 in an envelope, like a number 10, the same one you get a bill in or something like that. You send a service letter with a handwritten note tucked inside. Hey, Logan, my name's Dave Carroll. I'm the owner of this business. We do a ton of work in your neighborhood. I just want to personally introduce myself. If you're ever thinking about an upcoming remodeling project, or you need some painting done, or just want someone to check out and talk to you about the possibilities of what you could do to, enhance your home, give me a call, text me directly. I'm the owner. This is my number. You do that, the first touch, and then once a month for the next 3 months, postcard in the mail to those people, highlighting a project, going over something you did for a neighbor, highlighting your reviews or why you're the best company in that area. I don't want to say it's fish in the barrel, but when it goes to best practices, there's not really much else you can do.
So the one that you keep touching on that I want to kind of not explain, but go a little bit and talk about in my mind why it works is you don't just say, hey, buy my shit.
Doesn't really work like that.
It doesn't work. And it's the stories of, let me walk through a project we've done in the neighborhood. Let me walk through some of our specialties, but it's all stories, because when people take this and they read it and they go, oh, well, it worked for Susie up the street. It's
Check
a little
one.
bit different. Yeah, done. Like, cool. They're in the neighborhood. They're trustworthy. It's that
I saw their truck.
Yeah, it all ties together versus what because I see this on Facebook. And I talk about this a lot of when people post, what they'll do is they'll take a picture of like the deck. And they'll say, hey, if you want one of these in your house, give me a call. And that the emotion there is next to none. But if it's like, hey, we had a homeowner, go ahead, Dave, you got it.
You're not being your job as the business owner or the marketing guy is to be selfish for your customer, not for yourself. When you're just talking about all the shit you do in your business all day, You're not being selfish for Susie. You're talking about what Dave was doing all day. Yeah. One of the things that I keep written on my wall is, when it comes to copywriting, when it comes to ads, when it comes to communication, take a thought your customer would have and turn it into a question that you would ask them. Do you have a painting project you've been meaning to complete over the last year? Are you sick of looking at your ugly deck? Do you wish that you had a barbecue next to your pool? Like whatever that thought is that you want to create emotion around for your customer, you have to take a thought that your customer has and turn it into a question that you can ask them that they will say yes to. Take them by the hand and show them examples over the course. Again, this isn't a short transaction for this audience where I can give you $100 off and you're going to buy today. I need to identify who you are, where you are, ask you if you're thinking about what I can do for you, and then give you touches and examples of how I'm solving those problems for people just like you, while highlighting why I'm an expert, why I'm good at what I do, why I provide value. And it's a combination nowadays of traditional and digital marketing to bring that conversation home.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast the other day. It was pretty good. They were talking about how when somebody asks you, like, well, how does it work? And it's more like they don't actually want to know how it works. And if you explain to them specifically how it works, you're going to confuse the shit out of them. So what you do instead is you just talk about a story of how this thing worked for somebody else. And the story is good enough because now they're the character or the hero in that story themselves. They're way more likely to buy.
And like every single time. I mean, like you literally, you have control of this conversation. Like you get to be, you take them by the hand, you get to decide what road to walk them down. And the idea is like, we live in a world of instant gratification. Amazon Prime, drop my groceries off. I ordered something and I'm inconvenienced because it wasn't here the next day because I've had that experience. But what happens when you have a lack of intimacy, you have a lack of emotion. Remember before we met our significant others and met that girl at the bar and had that great night and you don't remember her name? There wasn't much emotion involved in that transaction. So when you look at it like, what are these meaningful relationships? You're in the business of selling a high ticket item. I can't believe that anyone listening or watching this right now cannot look back and say like, I built some rapport for this person that paid me 50 bands to go to their house and like do something that was a dream when they thought of it. And we brought it to reality. Like there's emotion involved in that. There's relationship. And so when you can understand like the being selfish for your customer, but also like genuinely taking, it's not a, here's a deck I built. Look at the before and after picture. Isn't this great? Come on, spend your dough with me. It's like, here's a job we did for Mary and her 2 kids because Mary, she afforded that rainbow playground, but we didn't have a patio that we could sit out there and watch them on. And so what we did with Mary, we gave her a couple options. She explained to us what our budget is. We gave her a couple options because she really wanted a 2-tier deck, but that wasn't going to work for her budget. So what we were able to do is build a 1-story deck and add a gazebo and they can still see the yard. And this is how a story worked out for her. And then you got the review from Mary on your Google, you're doing a thing on your Facebook with a testimonial, and you're putting these stories out because when we talk about that world of instant gratification, what makes you buy on Amazon from a company that you've never heard for, that you probably think is on the other side of the world, when they got fucking 600 positive reviews? So if you can take and highlight the experience that other people had, you can still have that relationship without having that non-intimate instant gratification and still end up with the end result by putting together that that's
sequence. It's a sequence, and it starts with the story and then it backs it up with the actual like, hey, here's everything. And I'm sitting over here trying to figure out how effective would how effective would you be as a remodeling company if every time you gave the price, instead of saying how much money, you just do it in terms of bands as the unit? Like, hey, what's this kitchen going to cost? It's about 75 bands. Like, excuse me?
Some people might be very comfortable with that.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? I got you. So, no, I love it because it really is. It's tapping to all the stuff that we talk about here, which is you got to sell with the stories. You got to sell the transformation. If you're focusing on the product itself, hey, check out how beautiful this kitchen is. Hey, look at this deck. Isn't the wood beautiful? Nobody cares. It's wood.
We had a roofing company here in Minnesota that came up with this fascinating strategy that they've just been killing it with. There's this area in town, Edina, which is like ritzy, top million only plus that fancy Range Rovers, all that stuff. And this guy figured out that there were these neighborhoods built in that area that would have, it was like the windows are out of warranty now. They're 20 years old. They're made of aluminum. You're going to be able to find damage because it's, aluminum frames. And what he did was he gave me a list of homes that he had filed these claims for. The average roofer is going to make, when it's said and done, 6 to 12 grand off a roof profit, depending on the size of it. This guy was able to take a claim like that and turn it into a claim 10 times higher because he identified the area of these homes that were built in the 90s that people are buying, they're gutting, they're refinishing. And when I think of the guys you're talking about that are listening to this, Logan, the painters, the guys doing exterior hardscapes, decks, custom concrete work, like that type of stuff. It's like, you guys know the neighborhoods that these people need your work in. It's in your customer list. Download your customer list, sort it by zip code. Your top 3 to 5 zip codes will tell you where the people that want your work are hiding. We take a list of people in that area. We put homeowners on a list with a home value over whatever. You can now take and highlight same or similar projects that you've done over the year, visually highlight them, right? Put together a nice brochure, an envelope that they open it, and there's a couple things in it that explain or start this journey with a touch where it's like, send them a pack of stuff. They're going to open it. They're going to go through it. They're like, wow, this company's got it together. I've never really been marketed to like this. Cool. And I'm going back to life. I didn't call, wasn't sure. They see your Facebook ad. They get a door hanger. They get another postcard. Now it's that reminder of just creating that experience, creating the trust. Like, good marketing breeds trust. Said it like 12 times. Trust, conversions, sales, scale.
And half the battle here is you just got to catch people in the right emotion, because you get a postcard, you look at it, you get the same postcard after a glass of wine, game on.
Honey, did you see this last time? Because I didn't.
Yeah.
I saw them on Facebook. That's the one that had the yard sign out. Like, it's all relative. And the beauty is, like, we're in the driver's seat. Not everyone's got a huge budget. And that's why I think mail didn't work a lot 10 years ago. I'm not gonna say it didn't work, but the strategy was almost unobtainable by a guy second year, fifth year, 10th year, depending on your budget. Not everyone had 10, 20 grand to spend. Now, take the last 10 jobs you did. Do a neighborhood blitz of 100 postcards around each one. The blitz cards are 99 cents a piece. Spend $100 around that job that you just did for 50,000. Highlight the neighborhood. Go do the door hangers. They see your truck. You're at the gas station. The guys see your t-shirts. Like, it's all just touches and lining up valuable touches to create a memory and tell a story of how you can solve a problem for somebody.
Yeah, I know. So I know he does it through offers, but and you know Tommy Mello, right?
Good friend. Tommy's.
All right, that's what I thought. I was like, I'm pretty sure that was you that we talked about him. Yeah, but like, I had him on the podcast, and we talked, with the whole idea of, like, whenever I go into a new city or a new place, every single person there that has a pulse is going to get a several pieces of mail saying, hey, we're going to come out and we're just going to, I think it's just like, we're going to tune up your garage door.
That's exactly what it is. It's just tune up. Yeah. And yeah. We have guys, so I think this would work amazing in your industry. We have roofers that we're testing, like the roof tune-up thing for right now, both residentially and commercially. Because, like, getting on your list of vendors to do a tune-up for a property manager, that's for another conversation. But it's like these roofing guys that were storm guys by nature, right? They do the insurance jobs, whatever. These guys were getting to run roof tune-up offers. A deck tune-up, a patio tune-up, a whole, get $100 to, put a $500 ticket on it, cut it in half. They can get it for $250, or better yet, how hungry are you? Do it for free. It's got a $500 value. We'll come do a roof tune-up. What's a roof tune-up? You just invited me to your house to make a checklist of all the things I can do for you. And if you send that out in the right area, if you're doing it in Edina here, or whatever the market is where the $1 million homes are, or whatever $750,000 homes are in your area, when you go against the offers, the discounts, don't turn it down, guys. This is good. Like, if you look at the offer or the discount, that could be, hey, usually we charge to come out and look at your stuff. I'm going to offer you a free deck tune-up or a retaining wall tune-up or a landscape revitalization, whatever. All you're doing is buying estimates. Same thing as a Google click, same thing as a Facebook lead ad. You're just paying a little bit for your time to go out, make a checklist for Susie of all the dope things you could do at her house. And now what do you got? You got a couple bids, you got something to follow up on. Maybe you're still sending postcards to her area and she's being reminded about the stuff you can do. And so it's all, you know, there's a lot of synergy between it, but that tune-up stuff, Logan, yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I know. So we have, it's essentially kind of the same thing, but like and first off, everybody listening to this for the most part, we're all about like charge for the estimate. We're like the opposite of that. So just different ways of doing it. One is a massive campaign. You have the guys for it, but if you're a solopreneur trying to wear all the hats, it's a little bit tougher to do all this stuff. So, sure. But guys, what I'm trying to say with that is don't sleep on what he's saying, because the first thing you hear is we do it for free, because you can still do all this stuff and for it. It's going to be harder. It's going to take more touch points, and it's going to take getting them at the right place and time. But there's a reason that if I ask you, like, I don't know, like, what is Empire Floors phone number? You can spit it out with the, 800-588, because the jingle, because you hear it so much. So the more that you send these things out and the people know you, the more you become the industry leader in the area. And the easier it is that if you are then in the neighborhood and they see the sign, it's like, oh shit, okay, you know what? I've been seeing this all the time. Let's just get the quote unquote tune-up can still be $500. And all that is that you go out there, that's an hour and a half, 2 hours of your time. You walk around, you check everything, I don't know, like mess with the screws, make sure that it's safe. And then essentially the same thing, you were coming up with, okay, based on this, let's talk about what this stuff costs. So if you have the manpower for this shit, like it works very well with roofers, because they typically have a lot of estimators and stuff.
Right, the knockers and that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a value to it, right? I also believe whether you're a solopreneur or you're just, you're the rock star in town, you're the guy, you're the go-to. There's like, I agree with charging for estimates, qualifying customers. Who wants to go out and waste their time all day? The middle ground of that is like, if you're targeting the right area, do you have to get paid $200, $500, whatever for the estimate, if there were only people from $1 million homes in your area calling you? Would you do it for free? Because a lot of the free estimate stuff, as I've learned over the years, it's a differentiator, right? There's a reason that you guys charge what you do for your websites, or companies charge for an estimate, or whatever the case is. The idea is like, you can expedite at times that safety net of qualifying customers and making sure they're serious and providing value. It's not for everyone, and either is any marketing science. You got to try stuff. But if you can look at it and say, if I picked a list of 500 homes in my area that I wouldn't mind to go have a conversation with the wife or the husband and not charge, I don't know if that's rational for the people listening to this or not, but if I'm in those shoes and I'm a solopreneur, or I'm in my first couple of years in business and I just want to scale, if I have more time than I have jobs, it's my responsibility to get in front of as many people possible that I can solve a problem for. And it can be a roadblock sometimes if you're only like, I'm only charging for estimates. But then you're not busy. It's one thing if you got a list full of estimates to do, but if you're under this perception that you're like, my time is valuable and I'm not going out to do it, but you don't got a job going, it's like you might have to.
It's different, right? Yeah, it's like, so we're big on the idea of like, you charge 50% gross profit on each project, but if you got no work, a spotty 50% is not as good as a consistent 40%. So it's different games, and same with us. Like, if you want us to do a website audit, you're looking at least $1,000 if I have to do it. But if you want a free one, because I got sales reps that know what they're doing, they can help. Because a lot of times what I'm going to do is overkill. So you don't need me to walk through everything. You just need them just to have a conversation. So let's do a free one. I'll hook you up with Chris or with Tyler, and they'll walk through it with you. Now, you're not going to get all this back end technical side of things that I'm going to give you, but you don't need that. So a lot of times when we talk about this tune-up stuff, it's not actually a tune-up. It's more of just like you're essentially walking over there to have coffee, to have a conversation with them, to essentially write up a scope of work for yourself.
Why would someone want to tune up on their deck if they weren't thinking about replacing their deck or put the service in, you know?
Right.
So like, I would consider it more of like comparable to an AdWords click from a cost. You know, you can't control who's going to click on your ads.
Right.
The idea is that if you're targeting them only in the right area, where's your middle ground of like, yeah, I'd be willing to bend my own rules a little bit to have that conversation.
And you test it, right? You test it. You go to 10 houses, and if all 10 of them say, you know what, this is definitely, there's no way I'm going to spend this, well, at least you tried. Now you know. Yeah.
And whether that's targeting a different area or doing whatever, I know for me, when I was first starting off in business, when we wanted to be in those big ritzy neighborhoods, there wasn't much I wouldn't do to get in there. Even if like just the private gated communities, like that's like, you know, what's the beauty of those gated communities? You get on the list once, you know that homeowner has to take you off their accepted list. So if you can send direct mail into a private gated community, that might be your way in the door to get in that community. And now you have the ability, plant a seed, do some stuff, slip some door hangers in the post in the newspaper boxes, like whatever. And it's all just strategy. It goes back to what I was saying, that 5-finger thing. You got 4 things that are working. You got 1 thing you want to ditch. So if you find yourself in a position where you're either like, I don't have enough work, or I just got another truck and another crew and they're only half busy, or I want to double this year, whatever whatever problem you're trying to solve in your business, direct mail plays a big part of that. But like with everything else, it's testing, it's trying. And that's where I feel really strongly about what we do at Dope Marketing, because we give you the wherewithal. We're not brokering out your print. We do everything here internally. But if you come to us and say, I want to try a mailing of 300 pieces, great. Here's an interface where you can do it.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I will say to add to that is, if you don't want to double your size, if you don't want to get other crews, imagine a world where you have enough people coming in that it's supply and demand, baby. If there's so much demand,
hot girl at the party.
Yep, that's what it is. So you can now, you know, because it's funny because I'll talk to people. I'm like, what would you do if you got all these extra leads? And like, well, I guess I have to hire somebody. But like, everybody's so worried about the hiring and the shortage. Just raise your prices. So now you're doing the exact same amount of work, but you're adding 20% to your bottom line.
Absolutely.
And that's the power of picking and choosing who's coming in. But you can only get in that position if you have enough people actually wanting to come in and work with you. So once you make it, it's game on.
We had a very similar situation. I'll keep that brief because I know we're wrapping up, but in our cleaning company in year 6, we're scaling. We got up to 5 trucks. We're moving, shaking. I really wanted to get out of the business. And I'm like, you know, we're going to have to hire more. We're going to have to do more stuff. My wife looks at me and she's like, you read all these fancy books, David. Why don't we just double our prices? So we did. And we were doing the same amount. We lost 20% of our customers. Fine. We didn't want those people anyways. Like they sucked. Raised our prices, stayed at the same size, made more money. And it's very possible to do that, especially in a space like where your listeners or where your clients are at, Logan, where it's like you have the ability to charge more. And it doesn't mean you have to do it tomorrow, but if you can bring on more higher ticket jobs that you're bidding at a higher rate that you're going to make more money off of, you don't necessarily have to scale. You get to be, and I'll just piggyback off what you said, Logan. It's like, you get to pick and you're the hot girl at the party now. You get to decide what decisions you're making. And it's not a bad position to be in.
No, I mean, from a confidence piece, this is what everybody starts a business to be in this position.
Amen.
We didn't start it to chase people around. So Dave, how do people connect with you? If they want to learn more, and at this point, I'm pretty sure you said the word dope like 300 times. So I'm hoping you guys know the company name, but Dave, how do they connect with you, man?
You can find us on Facebook, Dope Marketing. You can find us at dopemarketing.com. We're pretty easy to find. The brand is a little bit memorable.
It is super memorable. So Dave, dude, thank you very much for coming on and jamming with me today. This is awesome.
Thank you for having me, Logan. I really appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.